This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's number one show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Knicks are once again a 50-win team. Some people don't care about that. Some people don't care about that at all. But they're a 50-win team. Twice over the last 2 years. And it's the first time that they've done that in decades, ladies and gentlemen. So I think that is something for Knicks fans to be proud about. Right? That the Knicks have won 50 games 2 consecutive years in a row. I think we should applaud that. Now, I know some people are like, well, you know, the Knicks were expected to win 50-plus games this year. There's nothing to be happy about, nothing to be excited about. I disagree. It's not about 50 wins this year. I was just talking about this with Tony Crow on Knicks and Bruises earlier today. Right? It's not about 50 wins this year. It's about doing it in consecutive seasons. Just like the Knicks have been making the playoffs. This will be the 3rd consecutive season that the Knicks have made the playoffs. Right? And what is this? 4 out of the last 5 seasons or whatever it is that the Knicks have made the playoffs. You know, that's good. Right? That's good. That's what we want. Now, the ultimate goal is to win a championship, no doubt about it. Win a championship. That's what we want. But it's building blocks, ladies and gentlemen. It's building blocks. We got to get there somehow, some way. You got to get there. It's building blocks. We should be proud of that. Today's a call-in show, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's just a mailbag. You got questions, put them in the chat. We're just going to talk. You know, we got a caller on the line right now. Caller, you're live. Name me where you're from, please.
Yo, it's good, Sam. This is World Wide West calling from Brooklyn, New York in a minute, but I listen to every single show you drop. And how you feeling tonight?
I'm good, man. How you feeling? It's been a minute. Nice to hear from you.
Listen, man, I never stop listening, you know, but I got a, toddler, so I've been busy. But, yeah, man, everything is cool, bro. Loving the Knicks, loving the season, you know. I'm going to get right to it. So I'm going to start this off by asking you, because I know you've been a fan probably even longer than I have. We around the same age. In 1999, did you think the Knicks was going to the finals that year?
Did I think the Knicks were going to? In 99, no. They were an 8th seed, right?
Right. You know, it was an 8th seed. So nobody thought they was going to the finals.
Yeah, we didn't really think
what I find interesting about this year is that, like, all the pundits who were supposedly Knicks fans, who was like, well, you know, we ain't winning nothing this year anyway. We ain't winning nothing this year anyway. First of all, with all the fans, we the 6th men. So I'm telling you right now, this is my strong opinion that players who play for the Knicks and people who work for the organization listen to your show and the other, known podcast shows that's going around, right? Mm-hmm. So they know the temperature of the fans. And if we not believing in them, then the extra bit of energy that they need. So we all got to get on the same page right now because this is about to be we believe time. You know what I mean? And so with that notion, I'm throwing all logic out the window. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna go into the mode where, like, I believe that we can win a championship this season. I believe we can. I believe that our biggest hurdle is going to be the Boston Celtics, as I'm sure you know. Mm-hmm. I'm not afraid of the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't care what happened between the last couple of games that we played against them on the second night of a back-to-back, how the NBA had our schedule set up. I believe that if we get through Boston, and I know we got to start in round 1. I'm jumping a little ahead of myself. But if we get through Boston, which is a big if, that we can possibly get to the finals and win a championship.
Okay.
And what I'm seeing right now is like, it's almost like it was like meant to be, right? Like as much as we don't want to see our captain go down, it was almost necessary for everybody else to show each other and themselves how they can contribute to this team, and so that they can build their confidence within. Yeah, that's the funny thing about professional sports, or even any sport. Like, no matter how good you are, you can lose your confidence, and there's been a unforeseen circumstances that has led to OG, Bridges, them really now having confidence in their abilities and what they can contribute to this team, along with Towns and Brunson. You know what I mean? Because the team is going to be the sum of the whole of the parts. And so we need everybody locked in step. We don't have, generational talents on our team where we just going to go kill guys. We're going to have to basically play team basketball, move the ball, find the open man, find the hot hand, play hard-nosed defense, and grind out every single game. And hopefully we'll be the first to 16 games when the playoffs start. I think that the biggest challenge in the playoffs is going to be for Brunson to develop the balance between scoring and passing.
Okay.
I've been very hard on Brunson this year, and which is why I don't call a lot of shows, because I know that's not the popular opinion. I don't think he's had the greatest year. A lot of people will say, well, look at his stats, but the stats don't tell the total picture. As a basketball player, you understand that dudes need to catch the ball in rhythm in order to make their shots, right? So you see how Landry Shamet all of a sudden is making his shots, right? Even Mikal Bridges is shooting a better percentage. And I think it's because Kolek, these guys are getting the ball in rhythm in their shooting pocket as they're going into their 1-2 pull-up, right? Even if they don't have the ball, as they're walking to the three-point line, boom, the ball finds them in their hands and they pull it up. Whereas with Brunson, the way that his style of play is, and I'm not criticizing him, I'm just making an observation, he needs several dribbles to break his defender down in order to score. And sometimes he'll do the initial breakdown, and then he'll go to his head fake series, his step-through series. And when he's doing that, Towns is approaching the three-point line, and he's wide open for a three. But you give it to him 2 seconds after that, and he's like, his momentum is lost, so he's hitting the front of the back of the rim as opposed to switch. You know what I mean? And I think that it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a period, adjustment time, that Brunson's going to have to find that rhythm between when to be aggressive and when to get your teammates involved, when to ride the hot hand, right? Like I remember Chauncey Billups. The reason why I had so much respect for him is because Melo was like a loose cannon, bro. He just was a scorer, right? But when he played with Billups was like, no. You're not going to get the ball at half court to dribble across half court and go into your move. Go ahead and post up at the elbow. Go ahead and he's picking his spots, and he said, I'm going to get you the ball here, and this is what I want you to do. I think that's the next step of evolution for Brunson, when he understands, okay, OG scores best from such and such position. Let me get him the ball over here, right? Let me get Towns the ball over here. Let me make sure I keep Bridges involved. You know what I mean? And then let me get my buckets, because it's like he can really score when he wants to, and especially if everybody else is in rhythm, is just a plus. I don't know. You could tell me what you think about that.
I agree with you 100%. And this is part of the reason why, about winning the championship this year, I'm not sure about it, because I think this team, like what you're explaining, with Brunson growing and, taking his game to another level in the way that you're explaining, is what I think the team as a whole needs to do, right? Because the team is very new. When you look at, Karl Anthony Towns is just getting to the team. OG's only been here for a year and a half, right? Mikal Bridges is just getting to the team. Pressure's been here for a year and a half. Who else we got? Campaign's just getting to the team. Probably won't be here next year. You're really talking about Brunson, Josh Hart, and Deuce, Mitchell Robinson, who've been together. And Mitchell Robinson wasn't here for most of the season. You know what I mean? So I think this team still has a lot of chemistry to build offensively and defensively, and for us to be a 50-win team, a 50-plus win team, and what are we, fifth in the, maybe better than fifth in the league, third or fourth in the league, record wise. And I know people say I don't care about the regular season and all of that, but for a new team, in my opinion, to accomplish those things, I think is pretty good, right? And I think it's going to take, like what you're explaining, that chemistry, the really understanding where to get each other the ball, how to capitalize on the strengths of all of the players, offensively and defensively, is why I think this team, just needs to be able to grow a little bit. Now, the playoffs is going to help. It's going to test them. And it's going to help them, because now you're in a foxhole. You've got to figure out how to utilize each other, or you're done. You know what I mean? I think the playoffs is going to make this team get better. I just don't necessarily believe it's going to happen this year that they get that much better. Now, I could be wrong. They could, really start to find the pieces and put the pieces together. But there's been, throughout the season, there's been so many, this player here, this player out, you know what I mean? Mitch is just getting back, and then Brunson goes out, and, just no time to really form that cohesiveness really for this team. And that's why I think it's going to take another year for them to marinate. But I agree with what you're saying, though, about Brunson. And I think that is the next evolution of his game. Really learning the game. Not that he doesn't know the game, but learning the game, like, learning the entire game, not just his game.
Right.
But everybody that's out there on the floor, how do I get everybody involved, find them in their spots, and also get mine?
Absolutely, yeah. That's gonna have to be the next game, and he's gonna have to get comfortable doing that in order for this team to maximize its potential and reach its ceiling. But let me ask you this question. I agree with you in the sense that I started the call by saying that I'm going to be unreasonably optimistic, right?
Mm-hmm.
This playoffs approaching, but in the back of my head, I'm going to temper my expectations, right? So, like you said, this is our first year of this current team being together. This version of this team, right? So they could really, if you're looking at the salary cap, they could only really make. So maybe they got the $5 million mini mid-level exemption, right?
Right.
And then you have minimums. You got a truest contract expiring. So if you want to put some contracts together, and it's unlikely they're going to make any significant trade, right? So you're kind of looking at just reshuffling the bench, keeping Deuce there. I don't know if they're going to keep Dillon Wright. What I'm trying to get to is, do we go into next season with Josh Hart as our starting, whatever position it is that he plays?
No.
Is he in the start lineup next year? Do we insert Mitch, or is there another player that we put in there?
I don't think he should be in the starting lineup. I even thought this year, before Mitch came back, that Precious should have been in the starting lineup at that 4 position, I guess. With OG at the 3, Mikal at the 2, and Brunson at the 1. I think it would have bolstered the bench, right? Because now you would have had Josh Hart coming off the bench, a guy that can give you a triple-double coming off the bench with Deuce, Campaign, et cetera. I think Tom Thibodeau did it this year because that's what he was comfortable with. And I think next year, you start training camp with Mitch. I think maybe he gives Mitch and Karl Anthony Towns a try, to see if that can work, right? Let Karl Anthony Towns go to the 4 while Mitch is at the 5. I think it could work because Cat can shoot the ball. Mitch can spread the floor, vertically because of the alley-oop threat. You know what I mean? Now you have more length. You got the added defense with Mitch. Now all of your positions, you just have more defense, I think, around Cat and Brunson. You know what I mean? And then you have, a real impact player coming off the bench, and Josh Hart. Josh Hart is going to get his 30 minutes anyway. You know what I mean? Because he's a Tom Thibodeau favorite, so he's going to get those minutes anyway. And now you know that he can fill in at the starting spot if you want. So I think Mitchell should. I'll say that. I think Mitch should start next to Cat. Huck Porty come off the bench to play at the 5. I think that should be the way to go. And then hopefully someone like Dottier is able to step up and give you another boost off the bench.
Right. Because we do have Dottier, McCullough Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We do have a couple of wings, right, that can step up and play. Maybe they could take Famine minutes. 12 minutes a game, 8 to 12 minutes a game, hit a couple of threes.
Mm-hmm.
Just give our guys a breather. Because I don't know. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm thinking that we might be able to pick. In my opinion, I think we should go after Spencer Dinwiddie. And have him as the backup point guard.
All right.
Right, alongside Deuce and what's his name that we were just talking about, Josh Hart. I think that should be our 3 guys off the bench.
Yeah.
I think we can get Spencer Dinwiddie for the mid-level exemption. He's a veteran point guard, tall, 6'6", 6'5", right up the alley of the type of players that Tibbs wants.
Mm-hmm.
He'll keep a steady hand while Brunson is on the bench, and it'll maximize what we get from Deuce, because now Deuce doesn't have to worry about point guard duties.
Right.
He doesn't have to necessarily worry about someone like Champagne taking shots away from him, And then you got Josh Hart to kind of like, jack of all trades, come over the bench. Now we got a bench again,
Yeah, for sure. Because, Spencer Dinwiddie is a proven commodity. You know what I mean? And we've all seen over the years in the pinch when he has to start, he can come in and give you, 20 points and 8 assists a game or whatever, when it's called upon. So, I wouldn't mind having Spencer Dinwiddie at all.
Yeah, he's an unrestricted free agent this season. So, and I'm sure he would love, as I don't care what he said about the Knicks before, I think that he would like to play for a contender at this, veteran stage of his career.
Yeah.
I don't know how many contenders he fits or who's looking after him at this moment. I strongly doubt he's going to re-sign in Dallas, especially with the injuries, Anthony Ambulance, and I just don't think that's going to happen. So, man, thanks for taking my call.
Wes, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I'm going to pop in a lot more. Man.
No doubt.
Yeah, I love your show. I love what you're doing, man. I love how you built it up, man. It's such a reputable show. The sky's the limit. I hope you keep doing your thing, son.
Appreciate you, bro. Thanks for the call.
No doubt, bro.
All
Take
right.
it easy.
Peace. All right. That was World Wide West, ladies and gentlemen. Big shout out to him. Donald Cannon, thank you for the super chat. He said $5 for the 50-win season. Yeah. Applaud the 50-win season, ladies and gentlemen. Applaud it. You should be proud of it. We were talking earlier on Knicks and Bruisers about the defense. And if the Knicks are going to make a run, they've got to be able to play defense, right? They've got to be able to defend. There's no way you're going to make a run without defending. The Knicks defense, the month before Brunson went out, up until March 6th, from February 5th or 6th to March 6th when Brunson went out, the Knicks defense was rated, was during that span, was 24th in the league during that span. I can't account for injuries. I can't account for players that were out. I can't account for any of that during that time because I don't know everything. I just know that during that time, the defense wasn't that good, and they were like 6-5. When Brunson went out, the Knicks were, from March 6th to April 5th, the Knicks were a top 6 defense between that time span. 9-7. I'm not saying the Knicks are better without Brunson. That's just crazy. But is the defense better without Brunson? And Can the Knicks play a top 5 defense with Brunson? Right? That I guess that's the question. Can they play a top 5 defense with Brunson? You know what I mean? I just laid those stats out, and it's 30 days with Brunson, 30 days without Brunson, and the defense was polar opposites during those times. The win totals, the win percentage, about the same. Now the strength of schedule and all of that stuff, I didn't even look at it to know what the strength of schedule was. But that's my question. Got a caller online. Caller, you live. Name me where you're from, please.
How you doing, son? This is Jason from New Haven.
Jason, what's happening with you, man? Yeah, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for taking the call, man. Yeah, man. Nice week or so. I've been pleased with the team overall, just from a 30,000-foot view. I've been, pretty happy with the success. The ultimate success is winning a chip, of course, but as far as regular season, I don't have much to complain about. Never really did. Even when we had our lulls where we were losing and, little dips in our performance with certain games, certain teams. But I don't know, man. I just never really got down on the team. Like I said, some moments that you look at the game like, yo, what are we doing? Let's snap out of what a little fun thing. But as far as the playoffs, I'm looking forward, man. Brunson looked good last night. Coming back from that long, it seemed like he was gone for a while. I think they said 15 games he was gone, if I'm not mistaken. So, so him getting acclimated back into it. And, I just want to talk about OG. And you don't necessarily, I was born in 84. I've seen a lot of basketball. I played the sport. I don't really remember a player. Maybe you can't see him. I'm 41. You may or may not be a little older than me, but I don't remember seeing a player kind of transform his game within season, within a season, not an off season, but a season. Because OG had some good games pre All-Star break, but now, man, he's just really. He's been playing at an all-star level. I know we're past the all-star, break and voting and all that, of course. But, I mean, the way he's transformed his game it's been incredible, man. And, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but when you have a wing in today's league, real legit, he's always been a good wing. Defensively, he's had some moments offensively in Toronto.
Right.
He even had some outbursts when he came to the Knicks last year. The stretch he's been on, it really gives us. Now, I'm not saying we're unbeatable in the playoffs, whatever the matchups are going to be. I'm one of those fans, we're not ducking no teams. I know I'm not on the court to play, but that's the mentality as a New Yorker and the Knicks and fans have. We're not going to back down from any team. Whether, the Celtics may be better than us, and they are better than us. Cavs right now are better than us, but the playoffs is a different season. So I'm never going to, be down on my team, but having a legit two-way wing, the way he's been playing offensively, it really opens up our offense because for a while we didn't have another player to break down the defense.
Right.
Outside of Brunson.
Right.
And his ability now, like Josh Hart said, you're a 6'8" demon. And maybe OG took it to heart, or maybe they talked to him in practice. Like, bro, you have the physical size. I haven't been to a game this year, but I went to the game, one of the games last year, and just looking how, he's a big dude, man. Like, I know the NBA is full of big guys, tall, long arms, but he's really a big guy. Like, I don't think people realize how big he is.
He is.
Can't really tell on the TV.
Right.
But when you see him live, I saw him live. I forgot what game I saw. Just seeing him live at the Garden, I'm like, yo, this dude is a legit 6'8", 6. I don't know if he's 6'9", but he probably is 6'9" with sneakers on. He's a big dude.
Yeah, like he's got tree trunks for calves.
Yeah, exactly. I was crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
The same thing last year. I'm like, yo, this dude's calves is crazy.
For real, like, it make he's big and he's strong.
Yeah, and the way he's just, I mean, dudes are just, Paul's dudes are just bouncing off of him, man, and he's just really using that. He's kind of taken over that. They're not the same player, but he's taken on that. I don't know if maybe you'll understand what I'm saying, son. Maybe some other friends. He's kind of taken on that Julius Randle, bully, grimy, gonna get physical in the paint. He's gonna hit you with them broad shoulders. He's gonna jump. He gonna out jump you. His athleticism is maybe top 5% in the league. He's really athletic.
Mm-hmm.
What you said with the calves, the big hands. Like he's a big dude. So just seeing his transformation, man, it just really opens up our team where now it's not just we got to worry about Cat and Jalen, but then we got to, other teams are gonna be like, damn, now we got to really prep for OG.
Right.
Because now he can give you 30 a night. And now on top of that, Harden's going to get you a triple-double. He has the capability. I know a lot of people have been down on my boy Mikal, which, I understand. I'm not, naive to, he hasn't been playing what people think he was going to be. But overall, I think his season's been a success. He's had some big moments for us. So it's like OG. You got to worry about Brunson, then Cat. It's like, damn, Mikal could give you 20 to 25 any given night. Damn, I got to worry about him.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not saying we're going to go to the Eastern Conference. I don't know. I think we have a chance, but it just really opens up our team where I don't think it's more of a Cat JB worry. It's like, damn, it's Cat JB OG.
Yeah.
We don't pay attention. Mikal going to put, he's going to put 20 on us.
Right.
Josh Hart might give you 10 to 15, and you got Deuce giving you 10, 12 points. If Cam get on the heater, if Sham get on the heater, which he's been playing well, now we got length in the backcourt with DeLon. I mean, I've always told, like, the NBA is such a long season. Teams are going to go through lows. Coaches are going to be, every coach in the NBA gets, second guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every coach.
Yeah.
Some fans in every team are not going to like certain things the fan do or what this player does, or I don't like what this player is giving us. It's a long season, man. Let these guys get acclimated. It's the first season for a lot of these dudes playing with each other.
Yeah.
Pat never played with Mikal. Mikal never played with Precious. You got to give these dudes time.
Yeah. And I think with OG, man, I don't think we have seen a player like really evolve the way that we've seen OG evolve mid-season this way. You know what I mean? And become clearly, in my opinion, the third best scorer on the team. I think it's going to be up to Tom Thibodeau to recognize it. Obviously, he's seen it. Brunson's seen it sitting on the sideline. I think that's good for Brunson to see it sitting on the sideline. So now, he knows, Thibodeau knows, they know, okay, look, you know what? This guy is can consistently give us 20 a night or more. You know what I mean? He can play that bully ball game, you know what I'm saying, that we need and I think was missing for a good portion of the season, you know what I mean? And then to utilize that, you know what I mean? So that now you have more weapons in the playoffs. You know what I mean? And obviously going forward, and I think, like I was saying in the World Wide West last call, it's gonna take a season for everybody on the team to realize how to use each other. You know what I mean? Because it's a new basketball team. Like you said, OG never played with Cat. Mikal never played with Cat. You know what I'm saying? Mikal played with Brunson in college. Not in the NBA. That's a different game. Josh Hart never played with Cat. Mitch never played with Cat. Mitch never played with Mikal.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
right.
there's some learning. There's a learning curve that it's gonna take. Not just this season to see the full potential, to see the team reach its full potential.
And two more things, Tim, and I'll let you go because I know you want to get other callers on.
Mm-hmm.
One is just from a watching the game last night with Brunson back, because that was the main thing. I knew we was going to beat the Suns. I wasn't too concerned. I'm not saying we the 94 Bulls, but we're a damn good team. So I didn't expect us to lose yesterday. But one thing I liked that I saw, right, Brunson was getting off the ball when the Suns were picking him up end to end, right? Getting into action sooner, picking up the pace, spread touches. It really seemed like he made a concerted effort. Like, all right, I've been sitting, I've been watching. Let me make a concerted effort to make sure everybody touched the ball. Because we know JB, we need him if we're gonna go to the finals or Eastern Conference. Like that's what I was saying. We need him. He's our all-star. He's the captain, so we need him. But watching him get into actions quicker, and while we're still gonna need Clutch Brunson in the fourth quarter, tight games, he did a good job in my opinion. Again, everybody touches yesterday, deferring, falling back. OG got it. Let him have the show. If Mikal got it, let him have the show. If Cat got it, let him do his thing. And if the game is tight, we all know what JB could do. So that was great seeing him yesterday. And the last point overall, just from a season point of view. And this is not for you, Sam. This is just for a lot of Knicks fans that I've, met in the garden, friends I have that are Knicks fans, friends, social media, YouTube, all these other podcasters or whatever. Like the other gentleman before, right? And I'm not one to tell people how to fan, right? We're all different individuals. We all can root for our fans and criticize our fans. Criticize our teams, as we want. But I don't think people realize, or maybe some of the new fans realize, as Knicks fans, what we have. I don't want to say endure to make it sound crazy, but you know what I'm saying, Sam. Like, this has been through some tough times being a Knicks fan. So all I'm saying is to say this. To see the stability we have from, I'll even give credit to the owner. Owner letting everybody do their thing, right? Down to the general manager, World Wide West, all those guys. Leon Rose, Tom Thibodeau, the coaching staff, the players. The path to championships isn't always like a rocket, right? You start at ground level or playing. You start at ground level and you just smoothly take off. And then you get to 30,000 feet and you just coast until you get whatever destination. Sometimes you're going to hit some bumps. You're going to hit some air pockets. You know what I mean? There's going to be some turbulence along the way. Because if I'm not mistaken, Sam, many years ago, a few years ago, not even too long ago, what were people saying about the Celtics? Oh, you know what they need to do? They need to break up Brown and Tatum. Them two can't get it to the championship. They can't do this. They can't do that.
Right.
And while I'm a Knicks fan, I got to give them dues credit. They proved everybody wrong, and they got their chips, so nobody can take that from you no more. It ain't no more. We got to split Brown and Tatum up. So what I want to tell fans, yes, we have expectations as fans, and that's great. But let's not forget the days where we had Ron Baker and Clay Anthony Early and Frank Ntilikina and Sam, you know the name. I go down the list.
Bringing back some people. you bringing back some people. Yeah, I feel you.
So enjoy the ride. And it's not for you, Sam. I know you know your stuff. I listen to you all the time. The whole MBK fan. You know your stuff. But a lot of these fans, like, let's calm down. Let's not be too hard on. And I'm not sitting here acting like I'm their representatives or they paying me money to say something. But Mikal hasn't played well, but he's won some games this year. He's not a scrub. Do we all want to play better? Yeah, but some of the vitriol, some of the negative comments, wishing for, talking about players that are not even on the team anymore. How about we just support our team that we got this year? Because like you said, Sam, you said many times, this is going to be our squad for a while. We may reshuffle the bench.
Right. But this is going to be the
once
squad.
we give, because they're not going to let Mikal walk out. They're going to give him that extension. So everybody need to just don't even think they're going to think about trading him. So this is our squad. Let's get behind him. And like anybody says, in the playoffs, it's a puncher's chance. What if we get 3-3? What if it's a 3-3 series with the Celtics or the Cavs?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We just never know. Injuries happen. Players don't show up.
Yeah.
So let's support our team, Sim. I think you've taken my call, and I'll listen to the rest off the air.
Appreciate
So
you, man.
y'all have a good night.
All right, Jason. Appreciate it. Have a good one. Peace. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Jason Benjamin. That's Big Bubba's man. I think they, that's Big Bubba's homeboy. Yeah, I appreciate him for calling in. Hey, brought us back to some days, you know what I'm saying, when we had some guys, Clay Anthony Early, Ron Baker. Shoo. You know what I'm saying? Think about those days, ladies and gentlemen. Think about those days and think about today. Think about those days and today. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? It's a big difference. A big difference in the way the franchise is run. Yeah, you know what I mean? So we definitely gotta stand up for that. You know what I mean? We gotta stand up for that. Big shout out to my man Tony Crone, the building. You know what I mean? Okay, Tony, I got you. I'll bring you back in just a second while we're waiting for Tony to get here. My man Silk, what's popping with you, bro? How you feeling?
What up, Sam?
I'm chilling, man.
What's going on?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Answer me this. We were talking about can Brunson, can the Knicks play this top 5 defense with Brunson? Top 6 defense, whatever it is. Can they play with Brunson? And I seen someone in the chat say, blaming Brunson. Not blaming Brunson for anything. It's a legitimate question, right? Now, obviously, Mitch was, in and out of the lineup, not in, maybe not in the lineup at the time that, I mentioned with Brunson. You know what I'm saying? So that definitely makes a difference. But that's what I want you to answer that, Silk, and then let's go on from there with your thoughts.
Shit. So I don't think Brunson's a cone. He's just short. He stays in front of his guys. He puts his hands up. They just shoot over him. So I wish Cat would just put his hands up.
Yeah.
But Cat plays defense like a guard. He be guarding people with his hands.
But I don't think it's about effort. I don't think it's about effort.
No, it's his size. It's his size. They just shoot over him. He can't help his size. He be in front of them. It ain't like he's a cone like Fournier and they just blowing right past him.
Fournier was definitely a cone. Ain't no doubt about that.
He be in front of him. He's short. So it is what it. I don't know.
But even if that's the case, you know what I'm saying? You say, well, it's because he's short. He's gonna be out there.
Yeah, but we can work around that. We just can't be having him, because I see what they're doing now. They're bringing Cat up and pressing the guard, and they rely on other people in the back end to defend the rim. We can't be having Brunson back there guarding the center. That ain't on no kind of trap move. I hope we don't be doing that. But I think we could still have a good defense. And Sim, I was listening to you.
Top 6, top 5 defense with Brunson?
I don't know about top 6. I could say top 10.
Okay.
And Denver proved that you don't need to be top 6, top 5 with a good offense. Or you can be 14 and under top defense in the playoffs, and you go win the chip.
Okay. Is our offense consistently good enough? I know throughout at some point in the season we had, what was looking like possibly a historical offense, and then injuries, right?
Yeah.
Can we get that offense back to put that type of pressure on people?
If this OG is the real OG. Because, my first take, you heard me, I be off and on with Mikal Bridges, because I see Mikal Bridges mid-range, and I want him to be taking it to the hole like OG be doing and scoring and getting fouled to have the complete game. But I come to the point, Mikal Bridges is a jump shooter. Mm-hmm. He's a guy where when you're looking at other guys on the team, you got the eyes on them, he'll turn around and bite you in your behind with his shot, cut through the rim, his layups when you ain't looking for him. You can't throw him the ball and ask him to cook. That ain't his game. I come to the point. But I always thought we needed one more guy on this team, because Cat, as good as he is, he gets fouled, he scores, he's easier to defend as a center. We needed another ball handler on this team that could take it to the hole. And I guess Tibbs said, "Let me bring out R.J. Barrett's game plan and give it to OG because OG's a better 3-point shooter than Barrett." And if OG ever get that little mid-range consistently down,
I mean, he's
gonna be a beast.
He's been knocking it down lately.
Right. If he gets it
knocking it
consistently, he can keep hitting that step-back mid-range.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna be a beast because he's doing everything else. And I think I listened to you and Tony on Tony's show. I think you're right because OG he watched film unlike Randall. Randall didn't watch film. He admitted that the last 3 years he traded him. He never watched film. But I think OG watches film to see how other guys get defend better. And I watched that film of some busting his behind for how he could defend better. And he picked up an offensive move how Sagoon kept beating him. And he said, "Let me try this. Let me try to bump shoulder while I'm driving to the lane." Because I think he's a film watcher.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how he improves the defense.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well,
and that's we got 3 guys who could drive, score, and get to the foul line. We see the thing was fucking Mikal. He was scoring, but he wasn't getting to the foul line.
Right.
So we got to put pressure on the other team because when you get shooting over people and you scoring, but you ain't getting them in foul trouble. So they ain't threatened. They can still be out there and guard you. But when you start putting them on in foul trouble, now you got 3 guys who can get other guys in foul trouble, and that's what we need. And that's what Boston got.
Yeah.
They got Tatum, they got Brown, and they got Porzingis that get people in foul trouble.
Does KP?
And we needed 3 guys on our team.
Does KP? I mean, I guess so.
He's been posting more with Boston than he's been doing before.
Yeah.
He even got a bloody nose the other game or something.
Yeah.
He was bleeding above his forehead.
Okay.
So they be posting him more in Boston. So yeah, he be getting people in foul trouble.
Well, I mean,
And let me ask you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna ask you. Again, it appears it's like the other times we had to beat people. Cleveland, they thought Cleveland going to beat us in the first round. Philly, they thought they were going to beat us in the first round. Detroit seems to have it in their head. Let's not try and win no game. Let's stay in the 6th seed because we could beat the Knicks in the first round. It seems like they lost to Sacramento tonight. Come on, at home.
You think that's
so
what
they seem like they want to play. They want to play us.
What's our record versus Detroit this year?
I think we only won 1 time against Detroit. They got a winning record against us. We playing 1 more time though, but I think we only won that first game.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think maybe teams do that. I think teams are crazy if they do that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can understand the philosophy, but to me, that breeds a losing mentality. You know what I'm saying? And it can be hard to reverse that.
I brought that up earlier on Queen's Court as a possibility with them losing today and the fashion in which they lost. I was joking when I said it. Like maybe they feel comfortable against us as an opponent because we was in the discussion of who would we rather play. And what I will say is they are. One of the things I said about them is they're ignorant. Ignorance is bliss. You know what I mean? And I think they are a young enough team to not know any better than to take that approach. You know what I mean? But at the same time, that would also need to probably come from the coaches. Staff.
Yeah. Right. You know what I'm saying? And if the coaches are teaching that, I think that's a problem. You know what I mean? I think the players' mentality should always be, I'm going out to win. I'm going out to win the basketball game. No matter what, we land where we land, and then we play who we play. I think when you start trying to get cute, I think it's a mistake. I think you mess up.
And let me ask y'all fellas this question: Would y'all sit Cam if that's the series and play DeLon Wright instead of Cam for the size factor? So if Brunson's in the bench and Cade's out there with Brunson, now they got DeLon Wright guarding Cade, 6'5" on 6'5", and see what happens. and sit Cam for that series. So that's the matchup. Between DeLon and Cam, I see them as situations depending on the series, who you playing. There may be some series that Cam is better, and there may be some series that DeLon is better.
Right.
But why would Wright? Are you saying starting Wright?
No, that's not right. On the bench, replacing Cam at the backup point.
Yeah, but I don't think Cam would be ever matched up with Cade anyway. Nor would Nor would Wright.
I think if like with the way Tom Thibodeau coaches, he has a certain matchup, and let's say Bridges is matched up with Cade. When Cade is out the game, Bridges is out the game. When Cade is in the game, Bridges is in the game. You know what I mean? I think it'll be that way. Whoever he has matching up against whoever will be in the game when that player's in the game and out the game when that player's out the game.
You don't think it would be OG? I think it might be OG. The Cade is bigger and stronger than anybody else on the other team, and he's their only real true ball handler.
I mean, it could be OG. I was just using Bridges as an example.
Yeah.
It could be OG.
Right. Cade, I think Cade is strong enough to bounce Bridges off him. He wouldn't be able to do that with OG.
Yeah.
Because he's not extremely fast. He's just big and strong. And Bridges is
No, I was going to say another thing we've seen throughout the year, but mostly recently, is him switching that lineup in the middle of the game. So you may see Mikal start on somebody by the end of the game. It's OG, or vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. See, you heard me last time me and you talked, son. I was frustrated with Mikal because I wanted Mikal to be OG, but it seemed like OG is that guy that can hit the three, can get to the foul line, could put pressure in the paint. That was kept frustrated with it that Bridges wasn't putting pressure in the paint. He just kept fading away jump shots. He would never drive to the hole and put up the shot even when he was right there. It just makes me nervous with all these dunks, because sometimes, like you saw what happened with LeBron, his thumb got caught in the damn rim when he dunked the ball. You could get hurt with too many dunks, but I see what he's doing. Mark Bryan probably told him, because he was having them finishes around the rim, OG, that he kept coming up all crazy layup because he was throwing up too strong. He said, just dunk it, man. Stop trying to lay the ball up.
He just got to keep doing it. Just go to the basket hard, try to dunk it. Don't worry about, am I going to sprain my pinky or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just got to, because that's the mentality we want him to have.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the mentality that's got him to play the way he's playing, I think. You know what I'm saying? And we want that to continue. We need that to continue. To match up with the Celtics.
I want to see that on Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Tomorrow night, baby.
Like they ain't going to sit all their guys, Sam. They want to try and send a message to us. They'll sit one or two of the guys, but they're gonna do just like they did last game.
The NBA's not going to let Tatum. The NBA ain't going to let it happen. It's on TNT.
Yeah.
It's not happening. It's going to be some guys playing. Now, how hard are they going to play? How many minutes? I don't know. But the NBA's not going to let all these stars sit on TNT.
Because it seems like that's what Boston's doing. They sitting two of their stars, and then they letting the rest of the team spray. Then another two sit another game. It seems like that's how they're doing. Last game it was Porzingis and Tatum. So now probably Tatum, Porzingis played, and Brown and somebody else sit. It seems like that's what they're doing. Then they sitting two of their five starters until the end of the season. So, but everybody else seems like they're playing. So
right. But
we're gonna see if OG is becoming what I thought Bridges was gonna be, and Bridges is becoming. OG said, "I ain't know. I'm the one of the top three. It's me, Cat, and Towns, and everybody else follow us." And he's playing like it. He's even like Tony said. He's even cussing out referees now. I saw a video where he walked down the court and do the F word. He said F. I'm like, he's doing all that stuff now. He was always quiet and docile. Now he getting all his emotions.
When you're more involved in the game, those different emotions are gonna come out. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you have a certain amount of responsibility. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to see, fellas.
Yeah, we're going to see.
All right. I get off the line. Let somebody else get on here.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it, Silk.
All right, one.
Peace. The Knicks locked up the 3rd seed yet? Can't hear you, Tony. Muted.
One win or one
win.
Pacers loss.
Yeah, 1 win. That's what I thought. For some reason, I thought at the beginning of the game yesterday, they said that the Knicks could lock up the 3rd seed tonight. With last night with a win, but then when I looked at them, like, no, there's still a chance the Pacers could get there. So the Knicks, they need to go ahead and I want them to win to lock it up. Whether or not the Pacers lose, I want the Knicks to win to lock it up. If the Knicks lock up the 3rd seed tomorrow, how do you see the last 3 games going as far as guys playing?
Can I just say something before I lose my train of thought?
Yeah.
I think people got to really, really give Mikal some bail. Like, out of everybody in this start lineup, he's probably had the biggest adjustment on role. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Him and Cat are new to the team completely.
Mm-hmm.
OG is familiar with the team. You would expect him to ascend faster in the role because he was already, his role really didn't change. You know what I mean? His role this year is what it was last year. He got better at it. With Mikal, I do believe, like Queen likes to say, he is leaving meat on the bone. You know what I mean? There's more that I think he could do. We may not see that until next year. You know what I mean? When he becomes more acclimated. And that all being said, he has literally won us at least 3 games. Buzzer beating game winner, the 3. The block against the Nets, that after the Brunson 3 to take it to give us a 2-point lead, he blocked the Schroeder layup that would have tied it and potentially brought us to overtime. Because that was at the buzzer, and then he had the buzzer beating block against Portland. You know what I mean? Like, so these are three instances, end of the game, offensive and defensive end, where he's literally won us the game.
Yeah.
No time left on the clock. Those are moments that he steps up in. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just as important as the entire game. You know what I mean? Like, because in 2 of those games, he was having bad games.
Right.
You know what I mean? But had a moment.
Yeah.
That won us the game. And so we got to shoot him some better.
And I'm not even mad at Bridges. To me, all right, once you get a player on your team, the cost starts to go away. You know what I'm saying? Because now they just got to fit into your team. You know what I'm saying? And you got to figure out, the best way the team fits together. And some players are going to rise, some players are going to fall, some players are going to stay in the middle, and I feel like the pieces, are starting to, the picture is becoming clearer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I always, with my basketball teams, at the beginning of the season, I always go through this exercise. I've talked about it here before. It's about how a team forms, right? You got forming, storming, norming, and performing, right? We talked about it before. The team forms. Once they form, you go through a storming stage, right? Now, what we don't see, because we're not in the locker room, we don't see that storming stage. The storming stage is when roles are being delineated, is when people are figuring out what their role is, who's the leader, you know what I'm saying? Who's who's the rebounder? And sometimes people might be battling for those roles. You know what I mean? Internally. And we don't even know it. We don't even see it. And then once those roles become clear, now it becomes normal for the team. And then once it becomes normal, they start to perform. I'm saying? And sometimes that takes time. A lot of times what happens with a team is they break down during that storming stage, right? And they never get the roles right. But once you get those roles right and you start to, it becomes normal to the team. When it becomes normal, that means now it becomes easier, right? You know where, I know where Cat's going to be. I know where Bridges, everybody knows their roles. You know when to step back. You know when to step up. Like all these little nuances become clear and become, it becomes easier for them to happen. You know what I'm saying? And then you start to perform at a high level.
And a lot of us just want to go right to the perform.
Just want to go right to the performance stage.
They want to skip the steps or not acknowledge the steps that we're not privy to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, man, he's been great in my opinion. He's had his ups and downs for sure. But to me, those are the things that are going to make him even better and have made him even better this year. Because, when you go through those storms, you know what I mean? That builds character. When you go through those downs and you're able to get back up, that builds character. And again, like I said, he's had moments that are bigger than a whole game performance. You know what I mean? Because he could have a bad game and win it in a good shot, or win it in a good defensive possession, and all that. Wow, what's the second stage you said?
Storming.
All while storming.
All while storming.
All while figuring out exactly what his role is, figuring out where he's gonna excel at and where it's best to be utilized and things of that nature.
Yeah, no doubt.
My bad. I had to get that off my chest because I would have forgot and then it would have been lost.
Yeah, no doubt. Nick from Jersey, what's popping with you, brother? How you feeling?
Hey, what's going on, Sam? How you doing, Tony?
Peace, family.
I just wanted to say, I remember when we got OG Anunoby, some Toronto fans said something to the effect of, you're going to hope and pray and wish and think that there's another level to OG Anunoby, but there isn't. Well, I think a year and a half later, we could say that there is. And we got it out of him.
Yeah.
Finally. He's 27. He's just entering his prime. Usually between 26 and 31 is your prime. He's kind of just getting into his prime here. And I think he might have just unlocked offense. He added one downhill move to his game, and it totally unlocked his offense for him. And now it's like, people are going to have to try and stop him, and it's hard to do it because he's too strong.
Yeah.
So, another player hitting his max under Coach Tom Thibodeau, and he'll probably get no credit for it.
Right. But there you go, right there. Another player. Yeah, hitting his peak under Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, when we talk player development, a lot of people tend to focus on the rookies, but you got to look at Jalen Brunson becoming an all-star starter. You got to look at Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, all these guys. Even the guys that aren't on the team anymore, like DiVincenzo and Hartenstein and whatnot. Anyway, I just want to say one more thing, and then I'll hang up. I was looking up what was going on in the world last time the Knicks won 50 games, 2 seasons in a row. April of 1995. Bill Clinton was in his first term. This Is How We Do It by Montel Jordan was the #1 song.
This is how we do it.
That was the #1 song. That's how long ago it was.
Wow.
Smoking was allowed indoors.
Wow.
And
smoking allowed indoors.
Smoking was allowed in restaurants, and 0.2% of the world was on the internet.
Wow.
1/5 of 1%. So that's what we've done in the last 2 years, winning back-to-back 50 games. And you know what? If the Knicks had Randall healthy last year and Anunoby healthy last year during the regular season, they would have won 55 plus.
Yep.
If they had Robinson healthy this year, or at least for another 20 games or so, if they had Brunson for 10 of these 15 games that he missed, they would have won 55 plus easily. And also both years, 2023 and 2024, the Knicks were right there to get into the Eastern Conference Finals. So, I think all this talk about second round ceiling and, we can't do this, we can't do that, I think it's a bunch of nonsense. This is the most talented team that we've had during the last 5 years. It's the most talented team we've had in about 30 years. And they're just coming into their form now. So let's see what happens. I think the Knicks beat the Pistons in the first round in about 5 games, maybe 6 games at most.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with the Bucks, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, and take it from there. You know what I mean? And hopefully the Knicks grow during that first round series. You know what I mean? To be honest with you, I don't mind if the series goes 6. People will want to take them out quick, but I think this team, playing together whole needs minutes together.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? They
absolutely. Last night was the first night, if I could recall, that these 9 guys were all healthy at the same time. There might have been one other game where they were all together. Where you had Mitchell Robinson, Shamet, Deuce, and Payne coming off the bench in the rotation, and Precious Achiuwa as the 10th man, not getting minutes. Like I think that's what we're going to see in the first round. We're going to see that these 9 guys playing, and as long as Towns and Mitchell Robinson are both healthy, Achiuwa is really not going to get into the game.
Yeah.
It's going to be Mitch Rob, it's going to be Shamet, Payne, and Deuce coming off the bench, with Mitch Rob and Deuce being the heavy minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the first time we've seen it. Let's see it out the next 5 games. I'm going to be going to the game against Cleveland on Friday.
Okay.
And, that'll be fun. But, let's see. And all this, we got to rest the guys. That's what the week will be for, between the last game and the first playoff game. There's going to be a whole week of rest. So they'll be rested.
While you got the play-in, right? You got that entire week. This team needs to play together. Yeah. Even if they're not playing 35, if they're playing 20 minutes together, they need to play together.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? They need it. They need the minutes. You know
Absolutely.
Man, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, let's go Knicks. All right, guys.
Appreciate it, Nick.
Have a good one.
Have a good one. Peace. Yeah. What do you think, Tony? Are you looking to excessively rest players? Brunson, I'm not looking to excessively rest. He needs to get back in game shape.
Exactly.
He's got to get back in game shape.
That was exactly where I was going to start. And then, like you just finished saying, if they can play, maximum of 30 minutes together, but, somewhere around 25, I think that's suitable. And if they could rest the fourth quarters, in these last games, maybe get some minutes for whoever might be on the bubble for Tom Thibodeau and his mindset of utilizing, if he's, if he's on the fence of whether Deron Wright has a role definitively, like maybe get some extra minutes down the stretch for him in these last 4 games. But I'm not. I think more importantly, we need reps because this is the very first time this team has been healthy 100% as a whole. You know what I mean? So that's more important. But at the same time, nobody really needs to be playing 35 minutes. You know what I mean? Especially once that seed is locked up after a win. After one more win, those next 3 games, we should be able to, tone it down a little bit.
Yeah. We've been talking a lot about Brunson, right? When we was on your show earlier, we were talking about, his ability to, is he going to be, how ball dominant is he going to be, knowing that OG can do what OG does, right? Are you worried about that? That once Brunson is fully back, 100% healthy, that first game, he's testing the waters on that ankle. You know what I mean? He's building his confidence back.
He took 9 shots. He is not taking 9 shots in any one of the next 4 games. You know what I mean? But I'm not worried. Sim. I feel like number one is even in OG's performances as of late, or without Brunson, it's never really been give him the ball so he can carry us. You know what I mean? Like he's carried us, but even with him carrying us, it was within the flow of the offense. You know what I mean? Now he's gotten hot, and we seek them out maybe a little bit more, which is a good thing that we typically didn't do all year round. Is kind of feed the hot hand, which I think we have been doing with OG. But I think Brunson adjusts because number one, if OG is playing the way he's playing, Brunson's job gets easier. Brunson gets less attention in a sense. You know what I mean? Like now they got to shift their focus onto OG a little bit more. So I think he opens up the game for Brunson and vice versa. You know what I mean? So I'm not too concerned with it. I wish we had more time. You know what I mean? That's why I do think the first round series, granted, I expect us to win, but I think that's going to be the tougher series. But I think we continue to improve as we advance in the postseason.
Yeah. Okay. Let me get to another caller. Got my guy Corey from Rochester. What's poppin', Corey? How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling all right, son. What's going on with you, Tone?
Chilling, man.
I'm good, my man. 50 wins, back-to-back double-doubles, man.
There it is.
No doubt, baby. No doubt. 50 wins back-to-back. Not easy to do in an 82-game season, bro.
That's
not
true.
Easy.
Very true. Say that, Corey. Can you say that again? For all the people, for Greg, for Sean Richardson, for all these people, can you please say that again? It's not easy to what?
It's not easy to do 50 games and wins in the 82-game season.
Exactly.
It's
not easy to do. It's not easy to do.
No.
It's not easy to do.
Back to back.
People want to discount it. I mean, right now, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams. 5 teams in the league right now. With 50 or more wins. Cleveland, 62-16.
Yep.
OKC is, let's start with OKC. OKC, 64-14. Cleveland, 62-16. Boston is 58-20. Houston is 52-27. And the Knicks are 50-28.
Correct, though.
Right?
Man, nobody did not expect that. I did. And I'm going to tell you why I expected
the Knicks to win 50 games.
The reason why I expect that because, the Knicks got high expectations.
Right.
And their high expectations for the season is they want them to get to the ECF, which is the Eastern Conference Finals.
Eastern Conference Finals.
Yep, and that's the ultimate goal. But now, since finally, like these last 5 games of the season, we finally got our full contention of the team. Now, it was a little rusty, but it just felt so good to finally have that full content of the team because the game against Phoenix, I know Jalen Brunson was going to be a little rusty, but once he hit the key shot when Phoenix was trying to cut the lead to 7 points and we hit that 3, I said, that's the dagger. I said, yes, Brunson, you still got it. All you need to do is just get your timing back. That's all.
Yeah, he'll get it back. I mean, he's got 4 games left, and then they'll have a week off. But Tom Thibodeau's going to make sure they get a little bit of rest, and he's going to get them right back in the gym.
Because like we said before, playoffs, you ain't got to worry about no back-to-back, and that's the best. There's no back-to-back for no teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What do you think about Wright? How you feel about DeLon Wright?
Oh man, DeLon Wright. I was impressed. I mean, he held the fort down with going 4-1, with him holding it down, being the backup for Brunson while he was out. He did an amazing job. Hit the threes.
You think
when he needed to?
Yeah. Do you think he earned playoff minutes?
Ooh. To tell you, Sim, I don't know, bro, because that's a tough scenario. I can't say. I'm gonna just be keeping real. I cannot say.
Some people, DJ Shuttle, some people in the chat say they'd rather see Wright over Campaign because he's, he's Campaign can be erratic, and I'm not even just talking about, how much he shoots or jacking shots, but just an erratic type of player. You know what I'm saying?
Right, because I know he's kind of inconsistent, especially when he be wide open for them 3-point shots, and I know his 3-point shot has been, like you said, erratic. But the people in the chat got a point. Mm-hmm. If I really had to choose, if I was a coach between him and Payne, I would rather go with Wright because Wright, to me, he makes better decisions than Payne does. He just don't straight shoot threes. He can get to the hole, make his free throws, and shoot good wide open threes while he's uncontested. But most of the time, he'll hit it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what you think?
I don't know. I think Tom Thibodeau is going to go with Cam because, Cam is Tom Thibodeau is a creature of habit. Say it all the time. You know what I mean? So he's gonna go with the guy that he's been rocking with.
Right.
He's gonna go with the guy that's been this is who the roster is used to this guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think he mixes anything up. I don't
change his rotation.
Yeah. I don't think he mixes anything up unless he needs to.
Nah.
But
if I were the Knicks, I'd rather think about holding on to Wright because with him being 4-1 without Payne being in that lineup when he got injured, that's something to think about in the near future a little bit.
Say that again?
I said that I think the Knicks better think about holding on to try to probably re-sign DeLon Wright in the future just in case if Cameron Payne doesn't return. Because Cameron Payne is going to be a free agent next season.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, Cam Payne, Landry Shamet, I don't think either one of those guys are coming back.
No?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, that's going to be
coming back.
Right. Yeah, I could see Wright coming back because, that's, I could maybe see Wright coming back. I don't see Cam Payne and Shamet coming. Maybe Shamet because of his shooting. You know what I'm saying? Let's see how he performs in the playoffs or whatever. But I don't think Cam Payne is coming back. You know what I mean? I think I don't think Tom Thibodeau is a fan for the most part of Cam
You don't
Payne.
think he's a fan of Cameron Payne that much?
I don't think so. I think he plays him because he knows, he's seen him produce in the playoffs before and stuff like that. And he knows he's a veteran. But I don't think he's necessarily fond of his style of play. It's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because because he can be erratic. Tom Thibodeau doesn't like erratic stuff. Tom Thibodeau likes order. You know what I'm saying? He's a law and order coach. Tom Thibodeau likes order. He likes control. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Cam Payne can be a little erratic. He can be a little out of control, I think, sometimes. Not too much, but a little bit.
Well, we'll see how that plays out, but because it's never easy to try to think about who might come back and who might not. But we'll see how it goes because you never know.
Yeah,
he might get hit a game-winning shot. You never know.
That's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I also think Tom Thibodeau probably wants to make some room. If Kolek can get his defense together, probably wants to make some room for Kolek too. Like that was a Tom Thibodeau pick.
Oh yeah.
For all the people who are mad that Coley didn't, get this type of playing time and that type of playing time, he's a Tom Thibodeau guy.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah,
calm
but Coley,
down, ladies and
he
gentlemen.
really got to try to get his defense game, put in with him, and he got to learn to maybe probably next few seasons or so. Yeah, I know he want to get his 3-point shooting down because he got a good range for a 3-point shot. He really does.
Yeah, he does.
know?
I mean, he can shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be. It's much like Deuce when Deuce was a rookie in the league and all of that. You know what I mean? He didn't. He wasn't knocking down his 3-point shots. But now look at him. You know what I'm saying? And
he got pure, bro.
This an adjustment.
Just like splash.
Yeah. There's an adjustment. There's an adjustment.
That's all.
When you come into the league, you know what I'm saying? You got to adjust a little bit. You know what I mean? You're a young player. You got to adjust to the speed. You got to adjust to the endurance that you need in order to be successful and all of that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's not easy, bro.
Our fans want to rush it. You know what I mean? Sean, Greg, those guys want to rush it.
Oh, see, that's where they're messing up at.
Yeah, they want to rush it.
Nah. They can't rush, man, because when you rush, then that's how you throw the whole chemistry off, and that's how these players won't improve. Let them develop. That's what development is for.
Say it again.
Without development, there is no improvement.
Thank you. They don't always get that.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't, But that's what fans are for. So I ain't gonna, that's what fans are for.
Oh yeah.
That's what we do.
I've been a Knicks fan for over 30 years, man. And believe me, I know my team real well, just like you do.
Yeah, and I know you've seen it all, from some great teams to some not so great teams.
All the above.
So teams. Yeah, I know you've seen it all. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. Corey, I appreciate your time, man.
You know that anytime, cuz.
All right. Talk to you later, man. Peace.
All right, Tim. All right, Sim.
Peace. So, I don't know. Do you prefer anybody in the playoffs? I know you're just talking about that on the Queens Court. Do you have a preference? I really don't. I don't have a preference, but
I don't. I feel like I said, I think we're gonna have growing pains still. You know what I mean? Like there's still a lot of growth for this team to kind of get to. And even though I don't think it's enough time to fully develop, if you will, this year, I'm still looking forward to what the ceiling is, and whoever we play in the first round, I feel like it's still going to be a little shaky. You know what I mean? Like it's still whichever opponent it is, there's pros and cons to it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like the youth and athleticism of Detroit, that doesn't necessarily bode well in our favor, but you got veterans and champions and aspiring champions on the Bucks as well that could get hot and kind of put things together. They haven't played their best basketball yet. I'm sure they feel that way. You know what I mean? Like they still have a lot of growth for themselves as well. So really, it's about it's not about the opponent for me. It's about us. A lot of guys are peaking right now at the right time. You know what I mean? Even though there's a lot of growth for this team, the best that we've seen from this team, I think, is good enough to win a championship. Even with the, you know what I mean, the growth that is still possible. So if we could just put the best version of ourselves this year together, I think we got a good shot to kind of definitely win the first round series, but also compete in the second round.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Which we haven't done against Boston or Cleveland.
Yeah, that's this. Compete. We got to compete against Boston. And here's the thing. I tell you what. Now that I think about it again, tomorrow night, Boston will play as many people as they will not play as many people as the NBA will allow them to not play, because they don't want the Knicks. The Knicks haven't won a game against them. They don't want the Knicks to find any little niche to say, aha.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I would expect them to, not really play guys. Now you see on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, the playoff picture. Right now, the Knicks are in the 3rd seed. They win one more game. They lock down that 3rd seed. The Detroit Pistons right now is who the Knicks would play. Right? And the Pistons and Bucks. I mean, right now the Bucks look like they have maybe a game lead on the Pistons. Game and a half lead on the Pistons. So,
they do play twice, so they play each other twice, right?
Each other twice in the last 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll see the way that looks. Right now in the play-in, though, we'll get back to the Knicks. Right now in the play-in, at number 10, you got the Heat versus the Bulls, and they're going back and forth to see who's going to have home court advantage, who's going to play that one game at home. The winner of that game will play the loser of the Magic and the Heat. The Magic and the Hawks. Right now, the Hawks are the 7th seed. The Magic are the 7th seed, and the Hawks are the 8th seed. That's still kind of up in the air. Right now, the Hawks, the Magic are 1 game above the Hawks. I don't know what their tiebreaker looks like. So, but the winner of the Magic versus Hawks will be the 7th seeded team. They'll play against the Celtics. And then the loser of the Magic versus Hawks will play the winner of the Heat versus the Bulls. And then the winner of that game will play the Cleveland Cavaliers in the 8th seed.
Sim, the play-in games are the Thursday and Friday before the playoffs?
The play-in games begin April 15th. So, yeah, it looks like something like that.
But they right after the play-in games, the playoffs begins, right? That break is the week before that play-in starts.
So the playoffs begin April 19th.
Yeah. And you said those games are what day? The 15th
and the last games of the season are the 11th, maybe the 11th and 12th.
Exactly.
Right. So those games begin April 15th. That's a Tuesday. So they get a chance to rest for a couple of days, and then Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's the play-in. Then the playoffs begin on Saturday.
Exactly. So one of the advantages that we actually have being the 3rd seed is knowing our opponent sooner for more time and preparing for that said opponent for once our season is ended. Literally, I mean, we could technically start before our season has ended if it's locked, if that 3rd seed is locked in. I mean, if that 6th seed is locked in. Because I remember last year that wasn't an advantage that we had, where we literally had to wait a couple of days to figure out who our first round opponent was going to be, and so that is an advantage in the 3rd seed as opposed to 1st and 2nd. We get some early preparation, knowing who Tibbs is. I'm sure he's going to take full advantage of that.
Yeah. Yeah, you already know that. Tibbs gonna take full advantage of that. Same thing for the Pacers and the Bucks. They'll know who they're playing. So I mean, it's a little bit. Is that a big disadvantage for the 1st and 2nd seeds?
I would. It's less of a disadvantage for them than it is an advantage for us, especially us, particular knowing who Thibodeau is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I could honestly see. And And Tibbs, that he may not even practice. You know what I mean? Until after the play-in is over. You know what I mean? So it may not affect the team, but Tibbs, believe me, he thinks of this as an advantage. This gives me an extra 2 to 3 days to kind of game plan some more about this particular team, as opposed to as a 2 seed, he might be game planning for 2 teams at once. It's
right,
focusing on one.
Right. Yeah. Right now, the Pacers and the Bucks are slated to play each other. That looks like it's pretty much done. I mean, the Pacers are probably still trying to fight for that 3rd seed. But right now, it looks like it's the Pacers and the Bucks, the Knicks and the Pistons. And then
They got some history. That should be a good matchup, right?
Yeah, that should be a good matchup. Out in the West, the Kings and the Mavs are in the 9th and 10th seeds. I think still in the West, for the East, it's all locked up, right? We know who's in the play-in. That's all locked up. For the West, the Phoenix Suns still have a chance to get in. The Phoenix Suns with Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker are fighting to get into the play-in. That's wild business, man. That's crazy. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal on that basketball team, and they're fighting to get into the play-in.
Yeah, I just kind of realized that Kevin Durant has been a part of 2 of the biggest disappointing assembled teams probably in the history of the NBA.
Yeah, for real.
It's definitely true. 2 of the top 10. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's true.
You know what I mean? But I argue 2 of the top 5 most disappointing assembled teams in the history of the NBA.
That's true. That's true. I think it points to his leadership. He's not a leader.
True.
You know what I mean? And when you're one of the best players, you're looked at as a leader. You know what I mean? He's not a leader.
Well, the Brooklyn decision, it points to his leadership, but not even on the basketball court, but just in the sense of, you follow Kyrie there.
Exactly.
At least that's the perspective that was put out there.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I agree 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. But in the West, ladies and gentlemen, the Phoenix Suns are fighting to get into the play-in. But right now, the Kings and the Mavs, they'd be playing the Mavs are the 10th seed, the Kings are the 9th seed, the Grizzlies and the Timberwolves are the 7th seed, the Grizzlies are the 8th seed.
Those are locked in? No, because there's like a 4-way tie, right?
Well, the Timberwolves and Grizzlies are locked in.
But what's the records?
The Timberwolves and Grizzlies are both 46 and 32. I mean, they're locked into the playoff. They're locked into the play-in, is what I'm saying.
No, I meant they can move up, because what's the
they could move up. They could move up. Well, the Denver Nuggets are 40. The Denver Nuggets are 47 and 32. You got the Clippers are 46 and 32. Golden State's 46 and 32. Minnesota and Memphis are both 46 and 32.
Yeah, and I think
there could be some shuffling.
I don't know. I don't think the standings are correct in the way they're showing them, because I feel like Minnesota has the tiebreaker. If all of those teams are tied, I think Minnesota has the tiebreaker between all those teams.
Okay.
So you know what I mean? Like they could end up jumping if everybody is tied at the end.
Right.
And just because of how they break down the conference and this and that, people are gonna fall. That's crazy how close that race is.
It's crazy. Yeah, that's definitely crazy. But right now they have them at 7. Grizzlies and Timberwolves at 7 and 8. The Nuggets and Clippers at 4 and 5. The Lakers and Warriors at 3 and 6. That right there should be a great series. The Lakers and Warriors,
right?
If they match up in the first round, that'll be a great series.
And that might be the last LeBron-Steph playoff matchup. So I think that's a lot. Because even if they flip flop, it's still 4-5, right?
Even if they flip flop, yeah. No. Well, I mean, if
Wait.
the Lakers are
They not
48 and
4-5.
30, the Warriors are 46 and 32. I mean, I guess there could be maybe there could be a flip flop. You know, the Lakers. You know, the Lakers have a little bit of breathing room. They have a 2-game lead on
On the Warriors.
On the Warriors on the 6th seed. They have a 1.5 game lead on the Denver Nuggets. Yeah. So it's a battle. It's a battle. It's a wild, wild west, man. It's a battle going on out there. It's the wild, wild west.
It's the wild, wild west.
It's going crazy over there. It's going crazy. That's what the playoff picture looks like right now. The next couple of days are going to be very, very interesting. You know, the East, I mean, is kind of locked up where it is. The West has a lot going on. It's going to be fun to watch. You know what I mean? It's going to be fun to watch. Yeah, so I don't know. Any other thoughts, though?
I heard one of the callers, Jason, I think his name was. He said, "Enjoy the ride." That's kind of been my motto most of the year. You know what I mean? I think I had one real big rant on the team, but it took me to sit back and look at where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the midst of that losing streak at the time, where we were, you know what I mean, and kind of just look at the big picture, and that's kind of been my motto since for the rest of the year. Just enjoy the ride, watch the growth. And, you know, it's so many. It's not just OG. So many individuals are having their best year of their career right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we still haven't really put the whole collective part together.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think the future's bright. Let's see where we could.
Right.
It's the starting point. Let's see where we end for the starting point, and then build from there.
Yeah. Is the future bright with Tibbs? Because, you know, that's the question. You know, a lot of fans are just mad with Tibbs.
I mean, this is the time. Like, I think they're just being mad early. Like, everybody's like, "Oh, we can't." This is the first year with this team with him, right?
Right.
I don't think the majority of those people who are down on Tibbs can argue that he's underachieved since he's been here. You know what I mean? Like, you can't really. That can't be your argument.
Right.
He's absolutely overachieved. Exceeded expectations thus far.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's more expectation on him. Let's see what he does. Right. You know what I mean? Like, don't say he can't do it before he gets the opportunity.
Because no coach in the history of the world has won a championship before they won a championship. Right? Like, that just doesn't exist. And I'm talking head coach.
Tibbs won a championship before he won a championship.
You know, I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, but head coach, I'm talking head coach.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
no head coach has won a championship, unless they were playing 2K, has won a championship before they won a championship. None. Ever. You know what I'm saying? Now, are there coaches that will never win? Yeah. Are there coaches that will win early?
That never won.
Say that again.
There's some all-time great coaches.
All-time great coaches that have never won. You know what I'm saying? There are coaches that won early. You know? I mean, Sean Richardson said, Sim said the Knicks don't have a championship roster. I said they do. They just need a better coach. I just don't think right now it is a championship roster. I think there's a lot of talent on the team, and it needs to be marinated. We're seeing the development of OG. I think we need to see the development of other players as well, you know, that really grow into their role. That same thing we was talking about: forming, storming, norming, and performing. We need a team to grow into their roles. You know what I'm saying? And you'll say, well, these players are on the roster. Yeah, but the player that OG came in is not the player that we see right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
And Mikal hasn't had the time to maturate. Is that the right word? Into the player he's going to become.
Right.
And nor has Cat here.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know, East Blue Juice said, OMG, we just did all these trades and still not enough. But you got to understand something. It's not like we did all these trades. It's a little different than that. The Knicks traded for Bridges with Jules and DiVincenzo here. And so now, right, with that group, you had Brunson that was going to be the starting point guard, Bridges at the 2, OG at the 3, Randall at the 4, and Mitch at the 5. Right? Once you traded Randall and DiVincenzo for Cat, you traded DiVincenzo was going to come off the bench for the Knicks, along with Josh Hart. 2 potential starting players in the NBA was going to come off the bench for this basketball team. You traded Randall. You traded DiVincenzo. Josh Hart went into the starting lineup. You traded 2 starters off of your bench. So no, you don't have enough because you had to. You traded away your depth to have a higher ceiling. Right? Like last year's team with Randall and DiVincenzo was more of a finished product than this basketball team. This basketball team is not a finished product. Last year's team was more of a finished well, not last year's team. The team that would have come into this season had it not been for the Cat trade was more of a finished product. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you made some trades. You traded away depth. Now you got to rebuild that depth. And we got 50 plus wins. Now, imagine when we're able to rebuild that depth. You know what I'm saying?
Imagine the more people get accustomed to each other.
Yeah. You know what I mean? You know, we'll be that much better of a basketball team.
And then a lot of people like to argue about the Mikal trade in itself. And I remember right after we traded for Cat, one of my first questions was, if we knew we was doing the Cat trade, do we still make the Mikal trade? But one of the first things that I thought about was, had we had the assets available at the time of the Cat trade, we probably would have had to give them up in the Cat trade.
In the Cat trade.
You know what I mean? We
Maybe.
didn't have them for them to ask for them
Right.
to demand. You know what I mean? So if not all of those same picks, at the very least, half of them would have been demanded because they were accessible.
Yeah. I think the next thing now is that the Knicks will have to, you know, that Cat trade came so late that you didn't have time to really fill in the pieces with veteran free agents that might have wanted to play and would have taken a discount to play with the basketball team. Now, this offseason, you're going to have some veteran free agents that look and say, I can fit there, maybe have a chance to compete for a title, like Worldwide West was talking about Spencer Dinwiddie, you know, have a chance to fit and compete for a title. I'll take a discount to do that. You know, I'm nearing the end of my career. I can still give you 15 a game coming off the bench or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You might be able to find a vet that will take a discount and you know,
to your point, I think you mean a better vet, because we had we had
better
the
vet,
you know, the Mooks, Willen, the Shamits, and the Cans. You know what I mean? We had all these guys, but even in that, we were limited to that. We had to choose. You know what I mean? We couldn't bring in 2 or 3 of those guys. You know what I mean? Like we couldn't bring in. We had to choose between like a Mook and a Shamit.
Right.
Where I think had there been more time, or had this been not like spur of the moment, like, oh, we got to make this move now, they would have positioned themselves to be able to bring in two vet minimum guys as opposed to, or 3 vet minimum guys as opposed to 2.
Nick Yak said the next level is this year. What the F are we talking about, like before the playoffs start, we're talking about next year. Who did we lose to? You're right. We haven't lost to anybody in the playoffs this year, right? We haven't. And if we win the championship,
we still going to get better next year.
Yeah, there's still a next level next year. If we win the championship this year, there's still another level to go to get better. That's what we're saying. There's more levels to this basketball team. So if we were to win it this year, we can look and say we won the championship and we're not even a complete basketball team. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Do I think this is a championship level team? I don't. But I'm not saying that we can't get in there and upset some people. You know what I mean? And if that were to happen, then it's like, wow, now we got time to go to get even better after we won a championship. You know what I mean? So, that's where we are. We'll see. Real King said, just wait a month or so and let reality deal with the delusion. Dunny got it. Said it took the Cavs 3 years to get to this point. It took Boston 6 to 7 years to get to where they are now. Yes, exactly. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't happen overnight. It takes some time. Sean said, this is a complete team, people. The coach is the problem. The Cavs are the same team the Knicks beat already. They just have a better coach. I mean, the Cavs dealt with a lot of injuries over the past couple of years too, right?
Can I just say?
And so they had guys out, boom, 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 in and out. They've been primarily healthy this year.
And two of those guys, Mobley and Allen, aren't the same Mobley and Allen from 2 years ago.
Right.
You know
Mobley was like a rookie or something 2 years ago.
You know what changed? Development.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like they were anticipating Mobley to be who he's shown this year. Right. And this is the first year he's done that. And obviously Allen has gotten better year after year after year. You know what I mean? Like it's about development.
And that core 4 players have been together for 3 years. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, and maybe some other people. They've been together for 3 years. Right? When they first got Donovan Mitchell and added him to the mix, they got eliminated in the first round. Right? It takes time for a team to develop. Yeah, so you can say, well, yeah, the new coach came in and look what they're doing, but maybe it's because that team grew together over the last 3 years. Developed together over the last 3 years. Darius Garland last year missed how many games? Right? I forgot how many games it was, but he missed a number of games last year.
Who's that?
Darius Garland.
Yeah.
He missed a number of games last year. I mean, so it's not really that simple that, they added a new coach and now they're good. Now they're this good. They grew as a team. They developed as a team. Players developed and got better. Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, they added pieces. You know what I'm saying? That's how basketball development goes. You know what I'm saying? That's how it goes. Paris said, Cat is Mobley. Mitchell Robinson is Jared Allen. It's doable.
I don't think we're arguing this now.
We're not arguing that. We're just arguing, about the development of the basketball team. You know what I mean? Dunny got it. Said Wade, Brown, and Bosh didn't win their first year. But y'all expect JB and Cat to win right away. Exactly. I mean, they made it to the championship their first year. You know what I mean? But look who, but they had all-time Hall of Fame players. And they didn't win it their first year. Let's give it some time. Sean said Simmons trying to downplay the Cavs coach. He's a big part. I'm not saying he's not. That's not what I'm saying. Why am I downplaying their coach? Kenny Atkinson is a good coach.
He was my first choice, but part of it was because I thought it was a long development plan.
Right.
He's
a good coach. Not downplaying him as a coach, but there's more factors. There's more factors. Context. We got to go back to that word, context. Put some context to it. You know, don't just throw out things to support your argument. We had this big not a big argument, Tony, but we had this big conversation about, people take their opinions and turn them into facts. You know what I'm saying? And think because they think it's right that it's a fact. And it's not. The facts are the facts.
And the incident magnifies that.
Yeah. No doubt about that. The internet magnifies that big time.
can put their facts out there.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Here goes Sean right here. See? If the Knicks had Atkinson as the coach right now, I'm betting my last dollar on the Knicks to win the championship with Thibodeau. I'm not betting a penny. I mean, maybe. I'm not saying no. It could be. The Knicks could win it with Thibodeau this year. The Cavs could go out in the first round. Who knows? Who knows? You know what I mean? But he also took over. Kenny Atkinson also took over a team that had already won. How many games did they win last year? Cleveland.
47.
They won 48 games last year.
48.
Right? He took over a team that won 48 games. All right. So far, he's increased their win total by 14. Tom Thibodeau took over a team that won how many games?
17.
The Knicks before Tom
17,
Thibodeau.
right?
Let me see. The Knicks before Tom Thibodeau.
21.
21 and 45.
20.
And
17,
and we won 20 plus
before
games on a shortened season. Right, the Knicks were 21 and 45 the next season with the same exact roster, not the exact roster, but slightly different. The Knicks were the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference at 41 and 31. The Knicks, all the teams only played 72 games that season. There was still 10 games to go.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the Knicks could have won 47, 48 games that season. Who knows? You know what I mean? So, let's not act like that didn't happen. And let's not act like it didn't happen. Paris said Atkinson got players 4 through 1 to get better.
4 through 11.
4 through 11 to get better. Okay. If that's what you want to say, I don't know. I guess.
I mean, at least if you're saying, all right, Thibodeau got to empower guys 9 through 11 a little bit more. I think that's a fair argument, a fair critique. You know what I mean? But when people say things like, "Oh, he's trash," even Sean, I respect you because you say this is a championship roster. Tibbs is holding it back. I respect your opinion. I don't agree with it, but at least you feel like the team should be even better than they are. And so if that's your feeling, I respect it.
Yeah.
I just think it's gonna take time for us to reach our pinnacle, our peak.
Right.
And
yeah.
I think we're We're right around where we should be.
We're on the path. Thunny got it. Said Tibbs has 13 seasons with only 2 of them being under 500. He obviously knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. Tibbs knows what he's doing. But ladies and gentlemen, get up out of here. Fun mailbag show. You know, the Knicks play the Boston Celtics tomorrow night. I'll definitely be on tomorrow night for a post-game show. You know, anything coming up with you, Tony?
I'm back to work tomorrow, but I will be here. I'll catch the tail end of the game. I'll be on the post game.
All right.
You know what I mean?
No doubt.
And like I said, I'm back in normal rotation. So Mondays, and I might pop out on a Wednesday every now and again.
Bet. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Catch y'all tomorrow. We out. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.